Njoba sihlangane nabo bonke ongasubacabange abanezwi nabanomsebenzi ukulungisa lenkinga lena yalabo bokufika abalapha abakhona ngongekho emthethweni. Sisukela lapho ukuthi iNingizimu Afrika isimi ndawonye ukuthi nalabo abaqashisele laba abantu emakhaya nalabo abakhisile emakhaya kufanele ngempela bavume ukuthi akwangafanele kube njalo, kwangafanele babe bathathe ipaza shop. Ngempela uyacabanga ipaza shop ukuthi sengaze qhamuka umuntu wangaphandle azothi nje yena uzophatha ipaza shop.
The department does not have a duty, even as per the Constitution, to provide health care to people who are not South Africans if it's not an emergency. It also does not force the government to provide all these things within the public sector. That's why there's the private sector. You've got private healthcare, you've got private education. Why is our government bending over backwards to stretch our public resources?
Because uzwile now education uthi ayithi umsebenzi wethu ukufundisa, which is not true. Because sonke sama citizens of this country, we have a responsibility. Ngishabu uthisha, ngishabu unesi, ngishabu udokotela. Or born as a department is just to teach, not to enforce imithetho.
Well, ukuhlangana kwethu namhlanje sixoxa ngenkinga enkulu ehlasela isifundazwe sethu. Njoba sihlangane nabo bonke ongasubacabange abanezwi nabanomsebenzi ukulungisa lenkinga lena yalabo bokufika abalapha abakhona ngongekho emthethweni. Umongameli wezwe umemezele ukuthi noma yimuphi umqashi oqashe umuntu olapha ngongekho emthethweni ufanele aboshwe. Into yokuqala lesixoxa sisukela lapho ukuthi iNingizimu Afrika isimi ndawonye uma umongameli wezwe esehlabe iphimbo lakhe lokuthi akube khona okwenziwayo, kufanele wonke umuntu asukume sikwenze lokhu kufanele sikwenze. Kodwa sifuna ukuxoxa lapho ukuthi inkinga ingakanani iminyango kahulumeni, sixoxe ukuthi kodwa ngabaniswana kanjani nazo zonke inhlanga, ngoba khona ngisho amakhosi la, kukhona abamelela amakhosi, kukhona abamelela inhlaka lezomphakathi esizibona ezikhathazeke ngalenkinga yabantu bokufika abagcwele la, kukhona ngisho iminyango kahulumeni la sibuka khona ukuthi umonakalo ungakanani, ukuthi sithi sishoda ngendawo zokufundela, sishoda ngemshanguzo, sishoda ngezinto nje, kodwa sibuye sibe nalo kuncintisana khona. Kufanele sixoxe kodwa ukuthi lolu daba silwenze njani, silandele umthetho, kungabi bikho ukuphula umthetho, kungabi bikho futhi ukwenza kube nomoya ophezulu phakathi kwemiphakathi ehlala lapha esifundazweni saKwaZulu-Natal. Kukhona ngisho be-Border Management Authority, ngoba imingcele yethu okuqala okufanele sibuke silungisa kanjani. So ukuhlangana kwethu-ke namhlanje ukuzozama ukuthi sivumelane ukuthi nalabo abaqashisele laba abantu emakhaya nalabo abakhisile emakhaya kufanele ngempela bavume ukuthi akwangafanele kube njalo, kwangafanele babe bathathe ipaza shop. Kufanele ipaza shop zibuyele kubantu bakho lapha eNingizimu Afrika, ngoba ngempela uyacabanga ipaza shop ukuthi sengaze qhamuka umuntu wangaphandle azothi nje yena uzophatha ipaza shop. Yini lesi particular engaze kuthiwa ihlule abantu bakhona ngaphakathi? So as government sinikeza ithuba lokuba sixoxe sibonisane ngalezi indaba lezi.
Access to healthcare in our country. Access to healthcare also goes with certain legal requirements. For example, if you're a foreigner in the country, you are forced to have medical insurance. So does this mean that the department is not even asking people for their medical insurance, even if they are foreign nationals and they are documented? Also, the Department of Health went back and forth with us for a long time over this, on the fact that the department does not have a duty, even as per the Constitution, to provide health care to people who are not South Africans if it's not an emergency. And this is something that has been declared by also the chairperson of the Health Portfolio Committee in Parliament, that we have a situation now where departments are bending over backwards to do more than they should, even though legally they don't have the duty to do so. The law says you provide emergency health care, because even in private sector, whether a person is legal or not legal, they have to be given health care if and only if it's an emergency. But just in closing, this is the biggest challenge that we face with departments, is when we sit and we hear that the law says, the law says, the law says. And you take the law in selective parts of where you feel it needs to be exercised. I'm going to read section 26 and 27 of the Constitution that continuously keeps being quoted in this country, where it says the government must take reasonable legislative and other measures within its available resources to achieve progressive realization of these rights. This specifically gives government an opportunity to say, we no longer have resources. Let us go to court and challenge the Phakamisa judgments and say that, yes, you said this, but now we are unable to do that. It also does not force the government to provide all these things within the public sector. That's why there's the private sector. You've got private healthcare. You've got private education. Why is our government bending over backwards to stretch our public resources to give to people who have a government that is supposed to be providing for them and who are even in the country legally? If we look at the case of the Road Accident Fund right now, the Road Accident Fund has gone back to court to fight for the fact that people who are in the country illegally are being given RAF. Why is the Department of Education and Health and every other department of government not going to court and trying to reverse the very same judgments that are holding us back right now? It is within your jurisdiction. You are the policy makers. You are the decision makers. You can't allow courts to make decisions for you. That is not what the Constitution says. Thank you.
Zosolva kanjani indaba ye-immigration ethinta home affairs if education no-immigration bangasebenzisani? Because uzwile now education uthi hayi thina umsebenzi wethu ukufundisa, which is not true, because sonke sama-citizens of this country. We have a responsibility. Ngishabe uthisha, ngishabe unesi, ngishabe udokotela. When it comes to izinto ze-ethinta umthetho like we country, crime, corruption, you all have a duty to ring the bell la ebukhona khona into wrong eyenzakalayo. So angiyazi lento esho Department of Education ukuthi kuchaza ukuthini mabethi othisha umsebenzi wabo obona as a department is just to teach, not to enforce imithetho. Like I don't understand that. Ngoba mawubona isigebengu la usibona ukuthi umuntu angaphandle lo ongaphethe amaphepha, you have a right ukuthi ubize amaphoyisa aboshwe.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. So yesterday, on February 24, KZN Premier Thami Ntuli hosted a roundtable discussion at the Archie Gumede Conference Center in Durban to address rising tensions over undocumented foreign nationals, illegal immigration, and social cohesion in the province. The event brought together stakeholders including government officials, law enforcement, religious leaders, crime-fighting groups, and civil society representatives like Jacinta Ngobese-Zuma, leader of the March and March organization. The discussion focused on enforcing immigration laws more strictly, with Premier Ntuli warning that KZN business owners who hire illegal foreigners could face arrest and stressing the need for concrete actions beyond talk. Ngobese-Zuma was also vocal, criticizing the government for selectively applying the constitution on immigration and urging challenges to court rulings that allow foreigners to overburden our public resources. She also slammed the Department of Education for failing to collaborate with Home Affairs on document verification for school admissions. Later on during the meeting, tensions arose over potential legislative changes to prioritize South Africans, with some pushing for reforms amid broader concerns about crime, resource strain, and community harmony. As it stands today, no major resolutions were announced, but it did signal ongoing efforts to tackle these issues in KZN. Watch the video on your left to see members of parliament discussing foreigners who are taking South African jobs. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell. Until next time.